On the 20th of November 2023, the Tuvalu National Football team bowed out of the running for a medal at the 2023 Pacific Games after a 6-0 loss to Vanuatu. The team wasn't exactly tipped as favourites to get the gold medal. This was actually just the nation's 37th ever international football game, and up to this point, they'd only ever won 7 of them. But this nation is playing against more than just opponents when it comes to football, and they are quickly running out of time when it comes to being able to play the sport at all. See, the game took place on the Solomon Islands in the middle of the Pacific, with the scorching sun beaming down on the field on the island of Guadalcanal, dominated by dense tropical rainforests, rivers, and waterfalls. And if you were to stand on top of Mount Popomenaseu, you would be able to see the breathtaking waves of the Pacific Ocean in all directions. That very same year, Grimsby Town took to the field at Blundell Park in the icy cold winds of Cleethorpes, England, to play Crewe Alexandra in an EFL League Two clash. Now I can already hear you say, what do Pacific Islands playing international football have anything to do with the fact Grimsby won this match 2-0 at their beloved home ground? Well, believe it or not, Grimsby Town and the Tuvalu national team have something in common that you might not expect. By the year 2050, Blundell Park, tucked neatly along the North Sea coast in England, can expect partial and in some instances total flooding every single year. Blundell Park is one of the 23 stadiums across the nation that will be facing the same fate. Some of the stadiums on the list include Carrow Road, Cardiff City, London Stadium, St Mary's, and Stamford Bridge, as the world's sea levels continue to rise into the future. Tuvalu is a nation composed entirely of low-lying atolls. Sea levels are projected to be 20 centimeters higher by 2050. This rise will lead to seawater contamination of the land, making the environment increasingly uninhabitable, a challenge that extends beyond the aspirations of its national football team. Many communities around the Pacific have already begun relocating due to the encroaching threat from the surrounding ocean. And as rising seas threaten riverside and coastal stadiums from the Pacific to Europe, climate change's broader impacts will start to be seen more often within the next 50 years as well. Stadiums will need to adapt, some accessible only by boat, others requiring year-round air conditioning for players and fan comfort. Along with rising seas, our constant changing climate will bring with it unpredictable weather patterns. A typhoon ripped through Japan in 2019, cancelling multiple matches of the Rugby World Cup. The Australian Open grinded to a halt in 2020, with smoke billowing over Melbourne, as the nation was on fire from unprecedented heat waves. And the impact can be felt beyond planning, as the unusually hot weather has had an increased toll on both players and spectators. In the last decade, exertional heat illness has started to become all too common in sporting leagues across the globe. As football solidifies its position as the world's dominant sport, it must confront these challenges constantly. Fixture congestion is already a concern, with players and managers warning of the risks to player health. In 2019, Liverpool had 2 different games in 2 different continents in the span of 24 hours. They had to send a different squad to compete in each one. If this trajectory continues, in 50 years, clubs will need squads of 40 or more players to manage congested schedules. They'll play in stadiums designed to withstand rising seas and intense heat. Football will march on, but so will Mother Nature. But if we were matchside in these stadiums, what kind of players would we be seeing? When West Germany played the Netherlands in the 1974 World Cup final, there was a man on the pitch playing a position we rarely see today. The Germans seamlessly played the ball out from the back, thanks to a player who hovered where centre backs typically stand today. That player was Franz Beckenbauer, who won the match and the World Cup by playing as a libero sweeper, a position now extinct. Libero means free in Italian. Freedom is not exactly a term associated with much of football today. Nowadays, players are taught from a young age the scientific intricacies of every step, dribble, and pass, but the sweeper isn't the first position to be shelved onto the lost tactics of time, and it won't be the last. Every position goes through a series of evolutions, and they will continue to do so. We've already sent a collective wave of goodbye to positions like the poacher, midfield destroyers, FIFA street-style dribblers, and purely defensive fullbacks. The number 10 position has always been reserved as a creative outlet for the team, with players like Messi, Kaká, Eusebio, and Maradona dominating matches with their dribbling and passing. But teams were much more forgiving about the parts of the game they weren't contributing. Today, the modern game demands much more adaptability from players, and number 10s haven't gone unscathed. 10s must defend and press alongside their teammates, or they won't play. Each position is now an amalgamation of 2 or 3 more. Fullbacks are also attackers. Center backs are playmakers, and goalkeepers need to be able to build up the entire attack with pinpoint short passing. Evolutions in football will continue, and it seems the next position on the chopping block is the number 9. While it seems every club in Europe is currently in the market for a number 9, the truth is that this role is gradually being phased out as we know it. In the past, being a big target man, a fox in the box, or a poacher would secure your spot at the top of the attack. But today, these qualities are no longer valued or nurtured in elite youth systems. Modern players are expected to be fluid in their passing, quick and nimble. Overlapping runs and link-up play are emphasized, and being a tall battering ram of a one-dimensional goal poacher won't get you a trial today. And this approach will also apply outside of the pitch as well, with coaches and officiating becoming increasingly more linked to technologies like VAR, GPS trackers, data analysis, and modeling. In 50 years' time, the game will become increasingly more scientific, as each action will be measured. The very top leagues will see less room for unpredictability, and likely, as a result, moments of magic. But in reality, football is a simple game. This has been one of the key drivers behind its success. There will always be moments that defy calculation in the beautiful game, like the split second when a player hangs in the air to connect with a bicycle kick, or the ripple of the net after a perfectly curled strike. These moments will continue to drive the sport forward, reaching even those scarce but untouched shores where football is still in its infancy. And this will also bring with it the continued effects of an external force, a force that has become increasingly more common in modern football. On the 5th of October 2023, FIFA officially released a press release announcing the 2030 World Cup would be a uniquely global celebration. But there was a sinister motive behind this announcement. The FIFA World Cup is the world's most watched sporting tournament. To be given a World Cup is essentially like winning the lottery when it comes to eyeballs on your nation. Well, this also attracts the interests from those who want to use this attention to exercise a geopolitical tactic known as soft power. FIFA's confederation rotation policy has been twisted, altered, and manipulated to accommodate whichever bid best lined the pockets of its executives. The so-called uniquely global celebration for the 2030 World Cup, taking place across Africa, Europe, and South America, strategically left only Oceania and Asia as potential hosts for 2034. FIFA knew Oceania and most of Asia would struggle to be able to put together a plausible bid to host the World Cup in time. But just to be safe, they suddenly shortened the bidding process time to just 25 days. Minutes after this announcement, Saudi Arabia launched their bid. They were the only bid with legs, and this was purely down to FIFA's scheming behind the scenes. Saudi Arabia now gets to host the 2034 FIFA World Cup. FIFA have also signed a $1 billion deal with Saudi state-owned oil company Aramco to be the official sponsor, eerily similar to the Russian state-owned Gazprom deal in 2018, and its sponsoring of the UEFA Champions League for nearly a decade. Over the next 50 years, as football continues to grow, it will increasingly attract individuals, nations, and corporations seeking to use the sport as a distraction from their misdeeds. Yet, this also opens the door to the opposite effect. Football, with its immense global influence, holds a unique potential to drive genuine social and political change. The next 50 years will be crucial in determining whether fans, clubs, and organizations prioritize commercial gains or the potential for doing good in the world. Perhaps more clubs will realize that handing over their club to a foreign state for the sake of trophies may not be worth it in the end. Ultimately, the future of the game truly lies at the feet of those who cherish it most. Yes, that means you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more football content like this. Thanks for watching. I've been truly blown away by the amount of comments and likes on my videos. I read every single one of them, so feel free to ask anything below. I've got a bunch of cool videos on the way, so I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day, and goodbye.